Hospitals are meant to be places of healing, but some hold a much darker history, one filled with suffering, loss, and inexplicable events. Over the years, countless abandoned hospitals have gained terrifying reputations, where eerie whispers, shadowy figures, and chilling encounters continue to haunt those who dare to step inside. But what happens when someone gets trapped within the walls of one of these sinister places, unable to escape, while something unseen lurks in the darkness? This is the chilling true story of an individual who found themselves locked inside a long-abandoned hospital, only to realize they weren't alone. The dark history of abandoned hospitals. Hospitals have long been associated with life and death, but some carry a far more sinister past. Many of the world's most haunted hospitals were once psychiatric institutions, tuberculosis wards, or wartime medical facilities where suffering was at its peak. Before modern medical advancements, treatments for mental illness and infectious diseases were often cruel and experimental. Psychiatric wards and inhumane practices. During the 19th and early 20th centuries, psychiatric institutions were notorious for their brutal treatments. Patients were subjected to electroshock therapy, lobotomies, and extreme isolation. Many of these asylums became overcrowded, with thousands of patients crammed into unsanitary conditions. Some were abandoned practically overnight, leaving medical equipment, patient records, and even body remains behind. Unethical medical experiments. Some hospitals have a darker legacy of secret experiments conducted on patients without their consent. From radiation testing to surgical procedures performed without anesthesia, many of these unethical practices left behind a deep, unsettling energy that some believe still lingers within the walls. Mass deaths and epidemics. Hospitals have been ground zero for some of history's deadliest pandemics. During the tuberculosis outbreaks of the early 1900s, patients were often quarantined in isolated hospital wings, many of which became mass graves when no cure was available. The same is true for hospitals that treated plague victims, war casualties, or victims of radiation exposure. The terrifying experience. Trapped inside a haunted hospital. One particularly terrifying account involves an individual who, out of curiosity, decided to explore a long-abandoned hospital rumored to be one of the most haunted places in the region. The building had been shut down decades ago under mysterious circumstances. There were whispers of unexplained deaths, patients disappearing, and a dark figure that had been seen roaming the halls, believed to be the ghost of a former nurse who died tragically in one of the operating rooms. What began as a harmless adventure soon turned into a nightmare. Unsettling encounters begin. From the moment they stepped inside, an overwhelming sense of unease filled the air. The building was silent, yet it felt as if something was watching. The hallways stretched endlessly, with broken gurneys and rusted medical tools scattered about. The flickering remnants of old fluorescent lights cast eerie shadows along the peeling walls. Then the strange occurrences started. Unexplained noises, footsteps echoed down the halls, though no one else was inside. A faint beeping sound, resembling an old heart monitor, came from an empty patient room, despite no working electricity in the building. Objects moving on their own. A rusted wheelchair, untouched by any force, slowly rolled across the hallway. Medical carts rattled, and doors creaked open by themselves. Disembodied voices, faint whispers drifted through the air, growing louder as they ventured deeper into the building. It wasn't just random noise, it was as if something was trying to communicate. A door slammed shut, no way out. Then, the worst happened. As they attempted to leave, the exit door, previously left slightly open, slammed shut behind them. The sound echoed through the building, and suddenly, the temperature dropped drastically. Their flashlight flickered as if something unseen was interfering with it. A chilling presence filled the air, thick with tension. They turned around, only to see a shadow at the end of the hallway. It wasn't just a trick of the light. This figure had form, movement, and an unmistakable presence. Dressed in an old nurse's uniform, the figure's face remained obscured, Yet its posture was rigid, almost unnatural. It stood motionless, watching. Then, it started moving forward. Panic set in. They ran through the halls, desperately trying to find another exit. But no matter which corridor they turned down, they kept ending up back in the same place, as if the hospital itself was trapping them. The final moment of terror. Finally, they found a side door that had been rusted shut. With all their strength, they managed to pry it open and burst outside. As they gasped for air, they turned back toward the building, only to see the figure standing by a broken window, staring down at them. The moment they blinked, it was gone. What causes hospital hauntings? Paranormal versus scientific theories. Paranormal investigators and skeptics have long debated why hospitals are such active locations for ghost sightings. Theories range from the supernatural to psychological and scientific explanations. Supernatural theories. Residual energy. Some believe that hospitals trap the emotional energy of those who suffered and died within them. This theory suggests that intense events, pain, grief, and death, leave an imprint, causing the environment to replay these moments like a recording. Intelligent spirits. Other theories suggest that certain spirits remain aware and can interact with the living. These entities may be former patients, doctors, or nurses who, for some reason, never moved on. Demonic presences. In the most extreme cases, some believe dark entities are drawn to places where suffering was prolonged. Paranormal investigators often claim that negative energy can attract malevolent forces. Scientific and psychological explanations. Infrasound and hallucinations. Certain abandoned buildings generate low-frequency sound waves, known as infrasound, which have been proven to cause unease, paranoia, and even visual hallucinations. Electromagnetic fields. High EMF levels from old, decaying hospital wiring can interfere with the brain's perception, causing people to feel watched or see shadows. Power of suggestion. Entering a location with the expectation of it being haunted can cause heightened awareness and misinterpretation of natural sounds or movements. Yet these explanations don't account for the physical evidence captured. Objects moving without force, unexplained voices recorded on audio devices, and countless eyewitness reports that share eerily similar details. Why people are drawn to haunted hospitals. Despite the terrifying encounters, abandoned hospitals continue to attract thrill seekers, paranormal investigators, and skeptics looking for answers. Some believe experiencing the supernatural firsthand is the only way to truly understand it. Others are driven by curiosity. What truly happens beyond death? And do spirits linger in the places they once lived and suffered? For those who have walked these haunted halls and lived to tell the tale, one thing remains clear. There are places in this world where fear isn't just imagined. It's real. It lingers in the air, watching, waiting. What do you believe? Do you think spirits haunt abandoned hospitals, or are these encounters just tricks of the mind? Have you ever had a chilling experience in a hospital yourself? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you love exploring the unknown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss another terrifying story. Stay curious, stay brave, and remember, some places are abandoned for a reason.